My desires. There's a limit to how much I can pretend it's for Siwon's sake. But even though this isn't the first time, why do I still feel so nervous every time? It's always like this. Just standing face to face with Siwoo with bare skin makes my heart pound wildly. That's how much I love Siwoo. I smiled brightly at Siwoo, who was watching me start to move with a tense expression. Gripping Siwoo's hardened manhood with my hand, I slowly pushed my lower body down. But perhaps because we'd abstained for so long, the entrance was quite tight. Still difficult. And no. Wait just a little more if it's hard, let's change positions. I'll move. No. I want to do this. Today is not only my birthday but also Siwoo's birthday. Haven't I always been led by Siwoo due to my lack of experience as a woman? Today, on our birthday, it was my turn to make the effort. It's a gift. A gift. Siwoo smiled as he caressed my swollen belly. Your gift is already growing well inside your belly. What are you saying? Siwon is a gift from you, you know. A gift you personally put inside me. Suddenly, Siwoo's member touching between my legs stiffened. Oh my. Sorry. I suddenly remembered our first night. I chuckled and playfully made a sad face. That time, it really hurt. It got better later, didn't it? Young Siwoo was such a beast, just thrusting away. Wasn't that what happened? You kept asking if it hurt while your hips kept bouncing. Siwoo's erect member poking between my legs gradually tilted. Stop talking about it. I'm dying here. Sorry. PFFD. Don't laugh. To avoid pressing on my belly, Siwoo raised his upper body and kissed me. It seems both of us need some time, so let's take it slow. I'm ready right away. I had been diligently rubbing between my legs with my fingers. I didn't want to delay giving Siwoo his gift because I wasn't ready. Put your ear here. Ear? When Siwoo raised himself and brought his ear close to my mouth, I let out a moan while recalling our first night. My face burned with embarrassment trying to moan from imagination rather than actual intercourse, but this method was the most effective. Good, yes, Siwoo inside me, the effect was definite. His previously dormant manhood perked up and began to push into my wet entrance. Why on earth did you memorize that? A flustered Siwoo flopped back down on the bed, laughing. Didn't you know? You always respond to this phrase. What a silly husband. Do I have to keep telling him how well I know him? I know your fetishes better than anyone, so forgive me for playing dirty. I grabbed the energetic invader, fumbling at my entrance to guide it, then pushed my hips down hard. Siwoo's firmness filled my empty lower abdomen completely. Every fold stretched out, creating sensations that tensed my lower back. When I froze in that position, unable to move, Siwoo cautiously began to bounce his hips slightly. As I tried to brace myself with trembling arms, Siwoo reached out to support me. In a riding position, my body gently rocked back and forth. Feel good? Why, yes. Yes. No sooner had I answered than Siwoo's intensity increased. Didn't you say you'd leave everything to me today? Was that a lie? Right now. Good. It doesn't hurt? Outside the bedroom, he was always a considerate boyfriend, but in bed, young Siwoo was a completely different person. Tell me right away if it hurts. If it hurts, you'll stop anyway, alright? Today we have to think about Siwon. Like a world-class soccer player dominating the field, my husband dominated me in bed. Look forward to a year from now. It was an arrogant expression befitting an alpha male. That confident face. That straightforward intensity that seemed to fear nothing. I loved it. Because it was the side of Siwoo I had always wanted to see. Chapter 159, Volta brackets 2. Just as a world-class soccer player dominates the field, my husband dominated me in bed. That arrogant face befitting an alpha male. That unwavering confidence as if he feared nothing. I liked it. Because it was the side of Siwoo I had always wanted to see. Contraception is an extremely important practice for couples in relationships. Please use contraception without fail. Otherwise, you'll experience this hell of childbirth every year. I think getting kicked in the groin is nothing compared to this. Siwoo frowned and sighed while glancing around nervously. The nurses preparing for the delivery were all looking down, trying to hold back their laughter. How would you know when you've never been kicked there? That's true. Come to think of it, I don't think I was ever kicked between the legs in my previous life either. My body was temporarily swapped with Kiwon's, but that was all. Maybe that's why. I really feel like I'm dying. I've never felt pain like this in my life. HNNG, but it hurts so much. I told you we should do a C-section, but that would leave a scar. Although I now identify more strongly with this body as my own, I still somewhat maintain the awareness that it's Min Ki-won's precious body. If I think about leaving a scar on her stomach because of my momentary choice, it seems right to endure the pain and opt for natural childbirth. Besides, the doctor said it would be fine. Something about having wide hips and good flexibility making me perfect for natural delivery. I never knew that all my regular exercise would help in this way, but anyway, I'm going to deliver Siwon myself. After all the effort I've put into preparing for natural childbirth, I've done everything possible for a smooth delivery. Stretching, yoga, walking, I've done it all. So, Siwon, be a good baby. Come out quickly to see mommy. I closed my eyes and tried to calm my mind and body. I needed to conserve energy for the delivery that would begin soon. You can do this. Siwoo had been holding my hand since we entered the delivery room. I'll stay by your side the whole time. But the moment he said those words, the space between our hands grew hot, as if someone had inserted a hand warmer. Looking at my face will make it hurt less. The love flowing between our hands was so intense that I felt like my hand might melt. Even though the pain was enough to bring tears to my eyes, I couldn't help but smile. It still hurts when I look at you, but you're smiling, so it must hurt less. Shut up, you idiot. To him, who stayed by my side, I was grateful. With my hand, I asked him to never leave my side for the rest of my life. What? Should I stop talking? Are you trying to concentrate? No. Holding Siwoo's hand tightly, I smiled broadly and giggled with him. Keep talking. Enough to distract me. But soon, with one word from the doctor who entered, our playful preparation for delivery came to an end. Mother, this is no time for joking around. Yes, doctor. Sensing the gravity in the doctor's voice as if we were entering a battlefield, I squeezed Siwoo's hand even harder than before. Siwoo flailed like a puppy whose tail had been stepped on. Oh. Hey, wait. Loosen your grip. The doctor just said no joking around. What did you just hear? Aish. Suddenly squeezing so hard. My joints Asterisk. I now understand why they say childbirth is difficult the first time but manageable the second. Before experiencing it myself, I couldn't comprehend mother's feelings, but now I think I get it. Siwa not tilde o, how pretty tilde da. Was a child always such a lovable being? Of course, I might be getting gaslighted by hormones because I'm a mother. But even setting that aside, it's impossible not to love a child you've given birth to yourself. How could I ignore such a beautiful child who resembles both Siwoo and me? PPU. Poo oh my. Is Siwon already sleepy? Young Siwoo and Min Ki-won, two kind people who only ever thought of each other, gave birth to a child so good that it turned them into selfish people. There's no end to the examples I could give. Even when taking naps, he always falls asleep before me at night. And when he needs to wake me up early, he usually waits until after 4 a.m. to cry. Normally, I notice first and give him milk and change his diaper, but before crying from hunger, he presses on my chest to signal me, and only cries to call me when his diaper needs changing. Twinkle, twinkle, little star tilde. How I wonder what you are, Tilda. You, 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 Tilda. When I play the piano with him in a baby carrier, he curls up against my back and sings along with my playing. How adorably lovable he is. Up above the world so high, Tilda, like a diamond in the sky, Tilda. You, Tilda, you. I think Siwon could become a vocalist rather than a pianist later on. For a baby just a few months old, his understanding and receptivity to music is incredible. This must be why parents always say, "I thought my child was a genius" when they were little, as if it's common knowledge. After playing about 2 songs, Siwon would fall asleep against my back as if he had never been awake. He falls asleep so suddenly, almost like passing out, that I've taken him to the pediatrician several times wondering if there might be a health issue. The baby feels comfortable, that's why. You played a lot of piano for him during pregnancy, right? But the doctor said it was natural and even envied me, saying I was experiencing a blessed parenthood. The habit of Siwoo and I sitting at the piano playing duets during pregnancy had a positive effect on Siwon. Kriyak. Kang Hwi carefully opened the bedroom door and blinked, asking if Siwon was asleep. He's sleeping well. Kang Hwi tiptoed into the room and gently poked Siwon's cheek. Hey, you'll wake him up. Hee hee. He's just so cute. If he's that cute, have your own baby. Oh my. I'm destined to be a housekeeper in this home for life. Your baby is more important than any child of my own. How impressive. I chuckled and asked Kang Hwi, so why did you come? Ah. The master said he'll be late today, so we should eat dinner first. I already knew that. I was waiting for you to come get me after I put Siwon to sleep. As quick as ever. Anyway, please give me Siwon. You need to eat. As Kang Hwi tried to take the swaddled Siwon, I turned around to face him. I don't want to. Aren't you going to eat? I'll eat like this. What, your back hurt? I don't care, Tilda. I walked toward the first floor with light steps, just like when I bounced Siwon up and down. Siwon, sound asleep, smacked his lips as if dreaming of riding an amusement park ride and clutched my clothes. Sitting at the dining table fiddling with my phone, I saw that Siwoo had sent more messages while coming down the stairs. Siwon's dad, coming home soon. He said he'd be late. Seems like it didn't take as long as expected. May, did the professor let you go earlier than expected? Preparing for the Chopin competition next fall, Siwoo is busier now than ever before. It's not just the competition preparation, he's maintaining his regular routine while attending classes, making his schedule extremely tight. He wakes up before me to do his exercise routine, walks Ruka with me, plays with Siwon for 30 minutes before heading to campus. After a short morning practice, he attends classes until the afternoon, diligently practicing in any spare time between classes. When classes end, he immediately receives one-on-one lessons from his professor, then returns home to have dinner with the family. Afterward, we bathe together or spend time as a family until bedtime. Out of 24 hours a day, excluding sleep, he has virtually no free time, with such a tight schedule. Yet he never neglects his role as a father, nor his efforts as a candidate striving to become the winner of an international competition. Truly, it's terrifying to watch. He's like a monster. How did I live like this in my previous life? Siwon's dad. It's not that the professor kept me Siwon's dad. I just felt unsatisfied today, Siwon's dad. So I said I'd practice more. Siwon's dad. Sorry, Siwon's dad. The piano came first today. The past me was obsessed with the piano. But the presence of Min Ki-won in a part of that obsessed person's heart changed the person, changed his life. And furthermore, changed his career and recognition. What would you have done without me? Min Ki-won gained a new life thanks to Young Siwoo. And Young Siwoo also lives a completely different life thanks to Min Ki-won. We are indispensable existences and elements to each other. Now we can't even imagine a life without each other, nor do we want to. But there's still a long way to go for Siwoo's happiness. I've overcome the crisis of death, but an important hurdle remains for Siwoo. It's next year already. Remember that day in April 2026? The fragment of despair that was the starting point of our happiness. I'll definitely prevent it. For your sake, to save you? I've been running all this time solely for your future. Chapter 160 Volta brackets 3 complete cherry blossoms in Korea typically reach full bloom from late March to early April. At the latest, most trees bloom before April ends. However, this year in Korea, winter lasted a bit longer, so the trees took more time to awaken from hibernation. As a result, even as April approached bringing our birthdays closer, the cherry blossoms around Seoul were only shyly revealing the tips of their petals. Finally, tomorrow's the day. Indeed. By the way, miss, were you always interested in that series? I don't recall you ever seeking out those films before. April 9th, 26 years ago, the day I drowned. For over 3 years, I'd been pondering whether that incident would truly happen again and what definitive method could help Siwoo avoid that fate. Fortunately, there was a precedent. The city had once completely blocked traffic on one of the Han River bridges. I'm still not particularly interested. Then why make such a random investment? Do you know how many times you were summoned to City Hall as the Foundation's chairperson because of it? Because it's important. Gang Hui shrugged. If it's coming from you, I'd believe anything. I smiled as I put on the thin cardigan she handed me. So, are the camping preparations complete? Yes. I barely secured a spot after signing a confidentiality agreement as a sponsor. Thank you. Don't mention it. Smack. She slapped my behind and pushed me out of the bedroom. While I was changing clothes, the maid who had been watching Siwon handed me the stroller with my soundly sleeping child. Have a good time. Thanks. Oh, is this perhaps a series that Siwoo likes? As a birthday celebration? There's no way young Siwoo would know about a series that Min Ki-won doesn't know. But since Gang Hui wouldn't know that much, I just smiled and waved my hand. Maybe so. As expected, Siwoo knew nothing about the series scheduled for night filming today. I should know something to enjoy it properly. This is a problem. Since his reaction was exactly what I anticipated, I laughed and pinched his cheek. I don't know anything either. Then why did you invest in it? The same question as Gang Hui's. I was reluctant to speak the truth and gave an ambiguous answer. But this was my husband, Siwon's father. Ah, today's that day, isn't it? Young Siwoo, who knows me too well, surprises me every time. Just how unlucky was I in my past life? That's an endless story. I could have complained about past events, but today is a day to celebrate. Because it will confirm once again that young Siwoo has finally completely escaped the tracks of the past. In musical notation terms, it's like a Volta bracket. The first bracket's performance ended with me in my past life, so when we reach the same section again, we move to the second bracket to play a different measure. The young Siwoo of this world is the second bracket. I from my past life was the first bracket. Though I couldn't capture the color, no one could match me in technique, skill, and accuracy of performance. I don't make mistakes when moving between brackets. So, we're camping here today? Yes. The filming location is on the bridge. Isn't it a bit disappointing that we can't see anything? Can we go up there? No. I couldn't get permission for that. Then we won't know what's happening up there from down here. I've already bribed a cameraman to install a camera at the scene like a CCTV. We can see everything that's happening through the Apple iPad I brought. I proudly launched an app installed on the pad. It showed the ongoing filming situation above. Oh, they're recording. They'll wrap up soon. Why? Isn't this when they should be filming? I deliberately scheduled the set dinner time a bit later. Soon everyone will leave their equipment and go eat. I see. Siwoo seemed to realize something as he moved the camera around to check the bridge. Indeed, people were gradually moving from the center of the bridge to the edges. The vehicles and equipment mobilized for filming were also all aligned to the sides. This is nerve-wracking. I held Siwon in my arms and wrapped my arms around Siwoo's slightly trembling back. Even I'm nervous despite knowing the future. How much more must Siwoo be trembling, having never experienced that death? Though I've always been swayed by Siwoo since returning to the past, today I need to act like the adult. Today, I'm the one protecting him, the older sister by 3 years. Though I remember always making such resolutions only to be completely overwhelmed. But at least when it comes to death, I'm definitely the senior. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. We've always moved in the direction of overcoming past failures. Trust me, young Siwoo. As if his trembling body was nothing, Siwoo looked at me with a contented smile. I always do. Were we really the same entity from the beginning? Is it true that my past life was young Siwoo? In fact, could it be that Min Ki-won is mistaking herself for young Siwoo? Even when Siwoo and I switched bodies at age 5, maybe we just thought we had switched. Perhaps we just nurtured each other's selves within each other. I've had similar thoughts for a long time. Maybe we are more complex beings than we think, I've briefly pondered. But the conclusion was always the same. I needed Siwoo, and Siwoo needed me. We were always facing each other. We just didn't realize it, being swayed by obsessions and thoughts about something binding us together. Love is great, and its power creates miracles. In the end, it can completely transform human life itself. It sounds like something from a romance movie, but anyone who has experienced it would agree. The romance that comes to everyone's life, not just ours, is in itself a movie. Boom! Whoa! Startled by the loud noise, Siwoo gripped the Apple iPad tightly. The sound wasn't from the iPad, but from the bridge above. Black smoke rose from the invisible bridge deck. I turned my attention to the video on the Apple iPad. A small fire had broken out in a vehicle, but a fire truck on standby due to the film shooting immediately rushed over to extinguish it. The unconscious driver was soon transported to the hospital by paramedics. The situation was resolved in less than 30 minutes. The film shooting was also not significantly disrupted, only extending the mealtime a bit. I replayed the accident scene, and in my imagination, I traced the trajectory of the bus I had been on in my past life. If the bridge hadn't been cleared for filming, this truck would certainly have collided head-on with the bus. The skidding bus would have plunged straight into the river, and I would have met Ki-won underwater. Situation resolved. Now, there's nothing more to worry about. It's over. Whoosh! The cool night breeze blew, showering cherry blossom petals from the riverbank like snow. Siwoo stared at the scene like a masterpiece painting, as if in a trance. It ended more anticlimactically than I expected. Because we cleared the bridge. Thanks to the message from the filming director who was sending us the footage, we could understand why the accident happened. Raccoon. Seems the driver had a heart condition, raccoon, so he came straight with the accelerator floored. The driver was taken to the hospital while receiving emergency treatment. The filming director reported that he would likely survive. I spent almost all my money renting the entire bridge, but money can be earned again in the future. With that money, I essentially purchased young Siwoo's future and the precious treasure that is Siwon. Just to be safe, let's wait until morning. We were going to camp anyway. So, anything you want to eat? Why are you opening a delivery app? We're camping by the Han River in Seoul. Can't we get food delivered? We can't cook here anyway. But that would make all the lunchboxes I had we prepare meaningless. What does he think the cooler I packed in the car is for? So you're saying you're tired of my lunchboxes? Oh. Right, you packed lunchboxes. I was just startled by the accident, young Siwoo. Your love has cooled. Siwoo couldn't hold back his laughter and hugged me. Siwon, caught between us, made a small sound and opened his eyes. Can't breathe, oh my. Sorry. Lifting Siwon up and pretending he was an airplane, Siwoo, lying on the tent floor, said, "You know, hearing that phrase repeatedly makes me feel strangely at ease. That your love has cooled?" "Yes. I've always thought young Siwoo wasn't in his right mind. Every time I hear those words, I reflect. Am I loving you properly? Am I too obsessed with the piano it makes me look back? Indeed, my husband is not in his right mind." "What are you saying?" "I love you. And that's why I like him. Because he's that kind of person." Siwoo's lips approached smoothly, touched mine briefly, and pulled away. Siwon, who had been watching our display of affection, mumbled, "Me too, kiss." The overly affectionate couple rushed to offer their lips to Siwon. Oh my. Siwon felt left out. "Should we start with Daddy?" "Hey. Me first." "Hey? Did you just say hey to me?" Coincidentally, cherry blossoms fall around the time of our birthdays. And like falling flowers, we each ended our lives on our birthdays in the past. The past was like pink petals dying on the asphalt, washed away by rain. However, when flowers fall, leaves sprout in their place. The scattered seeds lead the cycle of life, and the lush leaves are responsible for the tree's annual growth. So that when winter passes and spring arrives, they can bloom beautiful flowers again as if they've been waiting. "Mommy, Dree, huh? Dree." After kissing Siwon and rolling his cheeks in my palms, the little one pointed at my temple with his short finger. Running my hand through my hair, a small branch emerged. It was a branch with beautiful, full cherry blossoms. I glared at my whistling husband. "Siwon's daddy?" "Oh, what? I thought you put it there to look pretty for your birthday. Do you want to die?" "Hey, hey." The child is watching. The couple, tangled and laughing inside the tent. Siwon watched them with a broad smile. "Ha ha ha. I am obsessed with myself tilde you were April's cherry blossom tilde the N.